Now, the PDP National Convention has become a much discussed moment in Nigeria's political landscape, looking at different issues from the convention, the legal battle, shifting alliances, and the struggle to stay relevant in the 2027 election. And we'll be unpacking all of that this morning, looking at the PDP convention and factors that played out with Chuks Ilebunam, a political analyst, joining us via Zoom this morning. You're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, the
Good morning.
PDP, of course, scheduled the convention in Ibadan. So, in your analysis, how do you see all the events that led up to the convention and how the convention played out as well? Would like to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, before the PDP went for the convention, the party was in a lot of crisis. When the convention itself held, it was held in an atmosphere of crisis. What it means, essentially, is that the day of problems for the PDP is not yet over. They still have a long way to go before they establish a modicum of political stability in the party.
Okay, let's look at the suspension of some of the party members. Is it something that you saw coming in this convention, or did it, was it something you expected, or did it come to you as a surprise?
No, it was long expected, not just by me, but by many other watchers of political development in the country, that if you belong to a body and you are not following the statutes of that body, you have to give way or be shoved aside. So a lot of the people who were suspended now or dismissed ought to have been dismissed years ago if the party was doing. But since that they've done it now, it just opens a new vista of problems. If you sack somebody, he will go to court, and if you are sued, you have to go and respond to the suit, and court cases will multiply and continue to tug at the unity of the party. That's what's going to happen.
So, when now do you see the PDP in all of this? I mean, looking at the convention, what would you say that they were trying to achieve, using this convention, and how is it looking like for them in 2027?
Well, they held their convention because it is statutory. Every political party must hold its convention on an annual basis. What in my view, they were trying to achieve is some kind of cohesion, some kind of unity, so that they can move forward with a considerable degree of strength. I do not think they have achieved that, because the problem is weighed down by multiple crises, which is not surprising in a democracy as fledgling as that of Nigeria. It's expected. So they are in for more crises. That's what I see.
All right, then let's look at the conduct and the outcome of the convention. What does it reveal about the PDP's readiness to actually function as a credible national opposition party, looking at the 2027 election?
Well, you know that PDP's forces have been depleted over time. They have suffered a lot of defections to the ruling party and to the ADC. So depleted as the party is, it is weakened. Because of that, they can't be seen today as a credible opposition party. The PDP hasn't actually been playing the role of opposition in the last couple of years. It's as if there's just one party in existence, and all the other parties have been fractious, of course engineered, And because of that, it will be foolish to say that the PDP, as it stands today, is an opposition party or has a chance of becoming one in the foreseeable future. They have a lot of obstacles strewn on their way that it will be near impossible for them to represent anything in the form of opposition.
Now, a faction of PDP's National Working Committee suspended the convention, citing a high court judgment, and then at the same time, another court issued an injunction in favor of holding this convention. Now, how would you describe these conflicting legal orders, and do you see it affecting the legitimacy of the convention and the outcomes?
What you have to know is that the Nigerian judiciary has been playing a political role that shouldn't be its own. Nowadays in this country, you go for elections, votes are cast, nothing is made out of the votes, and the courts decide who becomes legislator or who becomes governor or who becomes president. The same thing happens. Every 2 minutes, you have all sorts of injunctions, pro and cons. It makes a mess of the whole democratic process. It devalues the worth and respect of the judiciary. It makes nonsense of the so-called democracy that the country is running today. That's why I think I said from the outset that they will now head to the courts. It is left for you to decide whether you still believe in the integrity of the Nigerian courts, the judiciary, their pronouncements, and all the rest of it. So those who obtained injunctions to stop the convention will return to court to say their injunction was not obeyed. Those who got injunctions to go ahead with the convention will argue that injunctions stopping them were invalid. So it's a field day for lawyers. They will be receiving their fees, wearing their wig and gown, going to court to represent whoever hires them. And then judiciary will be doing what they have been doing in recent times in this country that has made everything seem like a cruel joke, this process of politics. So there's no, for the rationale, there is no happiness out of this convention. Of course, there is a glimmer of hope that they've held this convention. Now, perhaps those who are still really interested in the party will band together and move forward. And those people who have been playing spoiler will effectively be dismissed so that they can go to other houses and go and continue to destabilize things. You saw what was happening with the Labour Party. The court rules that somebody is no longer chairman. The fellow keeps going all over the country, claiming to remain in his position. Nobody really obeys anything again in this country. And it makes you wonder whether politicians are ready for democracy or they're just singing along a futile song.
All right then, so let's look at how the alliances formed at the convention is going to affect the party's strategy ahead of the 2027 election. How is it supposed to help the PDP come out of its crisis?
The PDP has a long way to go. For it to come out of its crisis, it has to be seen to be speaking with one voice. Whoever is the chairman will have to have his authority obeyed and respected. But where you have multiple voices from all states of the Federation singing discordant tones, whatever alliances have been formed today will ultimately be neither here nor there. The most important alliance they can form is the alliance of one united political party. If they do that, they will stand a chance of having a say in the way this government, this country is governed. If they remain fractious, divided, splintered, it's all a waste of time. The alliances will be meaningless.
Now, when you were speaking earlier, talking about the court's injunctions, you made mention of that it seems like the politicians don't obey anything anymore, and it seems like they are not ready for democracy. Now, what exactly did you mean by that? Can you expand further on why you said that and what that means for Nigerians and our democratic system?
You know that there are in any genuine democracy, there are three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Each arm has its own defined and distinct roles. The judiciary has its own role. We've seen cases in this country of where clear judicial injunctions are disobeyed and nobody is sanctioned. We have had situations where the judiciary turned out in itself to become a joke. Look at what happened in Imo State, where somebody who came forth in an election was declared victorious. That is deleterious to the integrity of the judiciary. And you have so many other pronouncements as like that one. In other words, I'm saying that one, judicial directives are scarcely obeyed. Secondly, the judiciary itself has been complicit in making a fool of itself. And because of that, everything is telling adversely on the democratic process. So it tells you, it raises a fundamental question. These characters who call themselves politicians, are they not just self-serving, or are they interested in the progress of this country? Are they interested in proper health care for the people? Are they interested in security? Are they interested in the good life for the people? Or are they just servicing their own lifestyles? The way it is, there's very little to recommend the Nigerian judiciary to any sane mind in matters that have to do with politics. That's the point I was making.
All right then. So how did the anti-party accusations from the previous election cycle affect the tone and also the decision of the convention?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, whatever decisions have been taken will be subject of litigations. The politicians, whether you are standing for B or for C or for D or Z, wherever you are standing, whatever decisions have been taken will be subject to multiple litigations. When this political party is tied to numerous court cases across the length and breadth of the country, they will not have enough time and faculty to function in their main purpose of existence, which is being a political party, and specifically in playing the role of the opposition. They will be in court. Decisions taken by the party, they will note their decisions, but those decisions will be challenged. And once they are challenged, you go to court, and then the lawyers will be speaking their legalese, the politicians will be doing their own, and then the judges will either be trying to redeem their shattered image or perhaps completely bury it altogether.
Now, still talking about this suspension of some of the party members, we're also seeing that governors like Fintiri and Mutfwang have openly distanced themselves from the entire situation. And, you know, just like you mentioned earlier, you said that that expulsion could even cause more problems for the party. So how do you interpret this removal, the way they've distanced themselves from the situation? What is your interpretation of that move by these two governors?
The way I understand party politics is this: if a decision is taken by the party, there's normally a process of arriving at that decision. When you arrive at a decision, if you are a faithful party member, you are bound to stand in line and accept what decisions have been reached, even if you opposed it during the time of discussion. Now, if a decision is taken by a proper political party, and then you say you do not agree with it, you will be liable for censure. You could be suspended, you could be reprimanded, you could even outrightly be expelled. That's how this thing is done. Okay, let's say if you go to the days of communism, they were not practicing democracy, but if the Communist Party took a decision, even if you opposed it at the outset, once the decision is stamped, you are bound to stand by it. Otherwise, you will be dealt with. Now, if you go to the United States, where they have a democracy, if you have the Republican Party, and President Trump and his group, they take a decision, if you derail from it, you will be sanctioned. Most of the times, what they do is, when they go for elections, they will deny you a ticket. So in other words, what I'm saying is this: if you are a true party member, you must contribute to decisions that the party will arrive at. If you do not, if you stay away from a convention that you are entitled to attend, and decisions are taken in your absence, and you oppose them, you should have internal mechanisms for rectification. When that is non-existent, you can then go to court. But if you are filing legal suits against your own political party, they have a right to determine whether their constitution allows that. Now, about these politicians who say, we support this, we are not in agreement with this, you must understand what is going on. A lot of the politicians we have in this country, I'm not now talking specifically of the PDP, a lot of these politicians all over the place. If you contested a governorship election and you lost, but a godfather turned up from behind and imposed you on your state, you are already beholden to that person. What it means is this: when future decisions are to be taken, the man who gave you a gubernatorial chair to which you are not entitled will say, my friend, I put you there. This is where you should stand. You must stay there. If you turn coat, they will reactivate the mechanisms that put you in power and use such mechanisms to remove you. So do not be surprised that some of the things a lot of the governors you see today, a lot of the members of different legislative houses you see are not independent. They are not independent-minded. They can't really take decisions that are directed at the betterment of their own people. They are looking at their godfathers.
All right, then. So let's just take a step forward by looking at the future of PDP come 2027. PDP happens to be, I don't know if they still stand the chance of being the strongest opposition party, but at this time they still have to put their house in order. And 2027 is fast approaching. What do you think is going to be the fate of the PDP come 2027?
Well, the PDP has three options. One is to move forward. The second is to remain stagnant. And the third option is to regress, to move backwards. It will all be tied to whatever the runners of the party decide. If they get their house in order, they will stand a chance of moving forward. If they remain in confusion, they will either stagnate or collapse altogether. But until the immediate coming months, the next year actually will be the deciding factor. That's where we will know which party has a chance of standing as a political party or which will be consigned to the nomenclature of a joke. So the PDP is in a time of trial. It may remain there on paper, or it may survive in real terms and become again a viable opposition party. Mind you, as of today, they are not playing any opposition role, none that anybody can see. None of the wildnesses in the society today are they opposing. They have not been speaking with a common voice, so nobody knows actually where they are going.
Now, speaking on the position of PDP, you mentioned that these politicians or these governors are not independent-minded and are looking to their godfathers and all whatnot. So now, in cases where we're seeing that party leaders, our leaders, political leaders, governors, and other politicians are not independent-minded, like you say, what would you say then are the long-term consequences of this behavior in terms of governance and policy making and even party cohesion in Nigeria?
Well, it's not a question of long-term effects. It is happening to us now. The poor politics evident in the society today is the reason why you have widespread insecurity, is the reason why the economy is in the doldrums, is the reason why a lot of people can't place food on their table. So these kind of politicians who are in executive positions to represent their pockets and their godfathers, they are the people who have put Nigeria in this tailspin that is suffering today. So unless there is realistic politics, nothing will change. Things will get even worse. Inflation will be spiraling. The policemen will be all over the place on the third rows, seizing motorists, motorcyclists, collecting rogers and money from them in broad daylight. Nobody is saying anything. The infrastructure is dilapidating, everything is collapsing. So poor politics because the politicians are not living up to expectation. It's not just in the PDP, it's in most of the parties. There was this statement made by Senator, what's his name, the former governor of Bayelsa State, his name, Dixon, yes, who was wondering why the governor of his state, who is in his second term and has just about 2 years to relinquish power, what was the reason for him to defect? You have to ask yourself, why are these politicians behaving like butterflies, flapping their papery wings all over the place? You are in this party today, you are in the other one tomorrow, next tomorrow you go to the next, for no reason. And when you move, you say you have moved the whole structure. You saw that when Rochas was governor of Imo State. Rochas Okorocha, he became governor under the flag of the APGA. Within months, he already defected. Nobody knew where he did that. You saw where he left the state. So a lot of these governors, you shouldn't really be in politics, let alone be found in state houses, because they are just wasting their time, bankrupting the people, destabilizing everything. The central question to ask ultimately is, are this group of people ready for politics? Are they prepared for democracy? Or are they just simply saying, to hell with Nigerians?
Okay, Chooks, now that's going to be a question for everybody to ponder on for now until we meet again to converse on this particular subject matter. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Signature Morning Show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Okay, so our conversation was on the PDP convention, the factors that played out. The convention happened, and of course, so many things had happened. If you're just joining us, you can revisit this conversation, and it will also be uploaded on our YouTube page. You can always leave a comment, and also share to your loved ones. Our guest is Chooks Ilebunam, and of course, he is a political analyst. Of course, after this time out, we will be back.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.